Hi, I'm Lovoni.
And I'm Sarah, and welcome to the Lovoni and Sarah podcast, where we talk all things weight loss and well-being. On today's episode, we're discussing the vagus nerve, the important nerve that serves as the body's superhighway. But what's all the hype about with the vagus nerve, and how can it be stimulated to better your overall health? But before we dive into today's episode, let's do our weekly catch-up. Lovoni, how's your week been? Remind us what your goal was.
My goal was to lose weight again.
Yes, I think it
I think
was.
that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I did. I lost 1.8 pounds. So
That's
not
awesome. So
huge, but
that's over 5 over the 2 weeks now.
yeah.
Brilliant.
And my week has been, like pretty on point, I have to say.
Yeah.
Even though I've been sick and I've got my toe that I'm
I
sure I
know.
broke it. I've still been working out because I was like, F you, universe. This is not going to make me stop doing this. So, I'm not doing the walking part, not the treadmill, but definitely going for it on the bike. And I've upped my levels and I've upped my levels on my weights. So, and I'm really enjoying it. So,
Excellent.
Yeah. What about you?
I haven't been into the gym this week, but I've been doing so much DIY. I feel like I've had a full body workout every single day. I'm absolutely bloody knackered, I'm going to be honest. But I've had a good week. I've eaten well. I've made some good choices. I've lost a pound. So
Good.
That's good. It's adding, I just see it's adding now to whatever progress I make. So that's absolutely fine. That's really, I've got really nothing to report other than the fact that I've been really, really busy. So I've been quite glad that I haven't turned to sugary food, because sometimes that can happen, can't it, when you feel a bit overwhelmed.
When you're stressed.
Yeah, I think so.
Well,
but no, I haven't done that. So that's good. I've had a good week.
See, all these episodes are paying off.
I know, it's like we're listening to ourselves.
We are. Yes, we're not hypocrites.
No.
Vagus nerve. This is interesting.
It is interesting. I didn't know anything about it. Did you?
I knew a bit about it, but I didn't realize to the extent. What I find really interesting, well, first of all, maybe we should just tell people what it is. And I think, if people listen or watch any sort of more forward-thinking holistic health and wellness podcasts or shows, that they've probably heard mention of the vagus nerve, because it's pretty much in the news right now. I think
it's quite a hot topic.
And it's very important. It's actually 2 nerves, even though it says, it sounds plural. And that for people who suffer any sort of digestive issue, anxiety, depression, like mood swings, quickening heartbeat, high blood pressure, they need to listen to this episode. So it is one of like a sympathetic. Yes. So you've got the sympathetic, which is the fight and flight, and then this is the parasympathetic.
Right.
And so it controls things like digestion, heart rate, respiratory rate, blood pressure, sneezing, coughing, the immune system, mood, mucus, saliva productions, speech, taste, skin and muscle sensations, and urine output. Wow. They're just some of the things that it does. So when, I was researching this, I was finding it interesting about the whole gut.
Yeah, me too.
With the vagus nerve. And I thought it was also interesting that vagus is a Latin word for meaning wandering, because it wanders down. It starts in your brain and then wanders down through your throat, down into your gut.
Yeah, I saw that. So through your neck, through your chest, around your heart and lungs, through your abdomen and intestine. So it's a direct connection, isn't it? Brain to gut. Yeah.
And it triggers a relaxation response in the body, which, people might not think that that's that important. But if you're always in a constant stressed state, or that fight or flight type thing, that puts a lot of stress on your body.
Particularly on your, I believe, on your immune system. I think when you're in that constant state and you are incredibly stressed, or even more so when you have been and then you start to come out the other side of it, I think that's when it really gets you, isn't it? You're so run down that that's when you start to see the symptoms. So yes.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And there's ways that, and I didn't know this, I'm a cold shower girl. Like at the end of every shower in the morning, because I always like to shower. I shower morning and night, but at night I don't do this, but every morning I run the cold water on myself for about 30 seconds. And it's like, especially in winter, but it just wakes me up most mornings. And apparently that's a good thing to stimulate nerve.
Particularly on the face, I was reading about. So particularly cold
on the
water
face,
on your face, because I think obviously where it's so focused around your neck, anything sort of in your face is really good too.
Yeah. So, and and it's just interesting how doing things like that can help, that taking you from that stressed, anxious state to calmer and more relaxed. And I'm not, it's not an initial thing. I mean, it's not you do it and then suddenly you feel relaxed. It's something that you have to do over time.
Did you find anything else? Because I was also looking at ways that the nerve can be activated, and also one of the things I saw was loud gargling with water,
and humming.
Yeah, so to get
singing
this area, loud singing,
so
the vibration and the movement in your throat and neck.
I thought that was really interesting. It's funny, my husband Lawrence just hums all the time.
Does he?
Yeah. And I'll say to him sometimes, what song have you got in your head, and he'll say, oh, it's such and such. Like, he always seems to know what it is.
Yeah.
And I said to him yesterday, while I was deep in the research of this, I said to him last night, you must have a very good vagus nerve, because one, he can sleep, he just thinks about nothing and sleeps, but then he hums all the time. Apparently, that stimulates it. Thought that was interesting. Same with that, when you think about it, because meditation is going to help it, but when you do in yoga, or you see like the Buddhist monks doing that like that's what they're doing, is stimulating the vagus nerve. It's interesting.
It's interesting. I've never thought about that.
Right. But maybe they don't know what it's doing, but they know that it's somehow
the feeling that they're getting. Yeah, exactly.
Them relax. Yeah.
Did you see any other ones? I saw eating fiber is something that can activate it. So I guess because it's connected directly to your gut, maybe the fiber then makes the nerve a bit happier. Laughter can be really good for activating it. So maybe that's why you feel better when you've had a good laugh. It's not just because it's released tension, it's actually activated that nerve.
Omega-3 fatty acids. Did you see that one?
I didn't see that one. No. Okay.
Yeah. So salmon, avocado, your oily fish.
Yeah.
Or taking a good, I mean, it's always better to eat the food, but taking a really good supplement too. Yeah. I do. Both. Drinking cold water. I'm constantly drinking cold water.
I mean, it's funny though, isn't it? All these things we're starting to list is actually starting to sound like a healthy lifestyle as well. So there's obviously such a connection between the two. One thing that I did smile and saw was a foot massage, and I thought, I wonder if someone just stuck that in there because they like it.
I wrote that.
Did you put that in? I was thinking, are you sure a foot massage? I mean, I'm all up for it. I love it.
I have massage. I had massage on something that I found.
Yeah.
But a foot massage, you think of all those pressure points in your feet.
Yeah. Well, reflexology. Exactly.
Yeah. That makes sense. Now, there are things that can weaken it. Did you
Yes,
read
I looked
about
how
that?
it's affected. Yeah, what sort of, I've got on my list, I've got stomach surgery. So any I guess invasive action to your stomach, type 2 diabetes, viral infections can definitely affect it. But there was also the three things kind of that were less, I guess, medically attached, where trauma was definitely something that affected it. Stress was another thing.
Yeah.
And alcoholism I saw as one of the things that was listed as something that really affected it. So
because I'm sure that you know, well, it does. Alcohol affects your brain. So,
yeah. What about you? Did you find anything?
well, I was reading some of the things that noted some of the things that that you can tell, you know, if it's a bit off.
Yes,
And abdominal pain
symptoms.
and abdominal pain and bloating,
Yeah,
difficulty swallowing, dizziness, fainting, that, you know, when your heart feels you know, like it's
racing.
racing, blood pressure, high blood pressure and blood sugar, all the ups and downs of them. But this one, I think my vagus nerve might be all right, because one of the symptoms was loss of appetite, feeling full quickly, or unexplained weight loss.
Yeah.
So I was like, mine's probably
must be working
pretty
well.
healthy.
Yeah.
I
I
think
saw
it's
I
working
had
quite well.
fatigue and poor focusing. I had as
Oh,
lists on there, headache,
yeah,
anxiety, low blood
yeah,
pressure and constipation as well. So
yeah.
I think just
IBS,
your body just not functioning in the way that
right?
it wants and should be functioning, I think is
Yeah.
kind of a good summary of all of those things, don't you think?
Also, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, which is, you know, the inflammation.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are ways to get it diagnosed with like a CT scan or an MRI,
Oh, okay.
which they look for, like, I think, intestinal blockages with
Right.
that, test heart function. But, you know, things that there's lots of things that you can do to keep it healthy.
Yeah.
One is exercise
Yeah.
and eating a healthy diet.
Eat well. I had that. Yeah.
I mean, they're two things that are really, you know, they're easy to
Makes
do.
it happy. Yep.
Yeah. And then, you know, managing diabetes, high or low blood pressure. And then meditation. Do you ever do that? I'm absolutely crap at that sort of thing.
I guess it's not, I hadn't written meditation down, but deep breath work is one thing that I read. So that really concentrated breathing makes the vagus nerve very happy. So I did have that written down.
It's funny you said that, because I think it was the sleep episode that we did, I talked about how I was listening to a podcast and I heard a doctor saying, one thing to do before you go to sleep, like, so you get into bed, you're lying in bed, is to do 2 breaths in, not like simultaneous, you know what I mean, one after the other, without letting it out. And then you let the air out. But you do that 3 times, and it can help you fall asleep. And I was thinking about that, and I thought, I bet that's to stimulate the vagus nerve, because that actually really helps me. Yeah. When I do that, and I bet that's what it's for. Yeah.
I got the cold water to the face and neck. So as we talked about before, it really likes that. Also connect with nature. One of the sort of list of things, it likes that. It likes being outdoors. It likes being grounded. You know, it's that kind of touchy-feely element to it, but it's definitely apparently something that stimulates it and repairs it.
That, and you were saying about the touchy feeling, connect with others was another thing that I saw that was going to help it. And listen to that ASMR.
Yes.
Yes.
They're quite hot. Although I do like watching them, but there's so many reels with it, aren't there? But
some of it, though, it's just like nails on a chalkboard. I know people like it, but some of the voices, I think, oh God, please.
Yeah, no. It's more the sort of the clunk and the click. And then I realized that as a little girl, I used to watch the A-Team a lot. If you've ever watched the A-Team.
Oh, yeah.
And the reason I liked that was because when they were doing their building of things, it was exactly that ASMR thing. Now it's like clunk, click, putting things together. And I used to love it when they were doing their building section of every episode. There was always a building section. And I realized that that's what that was. So it's obviously something that people have picked up on, and it's a sensory element that actually the brain likes. So it worked well for the A-Team. So, you know, why not?
Yeah, right. Good. Sorry, go on.
I was to say, I'd only recently obviously heard about the vagus nerve because it's such a sort of hot topic across social media, but the concept of it goes as far back as the 19th century. Did you read about that?
No.
So a neurologist, James Leonard Canning, I think his name was, developed an electrical stimulator which helped treat epileptic patients. And so Yeah, so basically it was stimulating the vagus nerve, which helped with the epilepsy, and people still now have a vagus nerve stimulation, but through an implant. But it's only
Oh,
when
yeah.
their drugs don't work. So if the epileptic drugs don't work for them, then obviously they're trying to find a different resolution for them. And there's now research taking place to trial the treatment for many conditions, and one of them is including obesity. So that was
Hmm.
interesting. I was like,
Well, you
okay.
think too, when it affects your gut, and stress is said to, and
Hmm.
if you don't sleep, that can lead to gaining weight,
Yep.
stress. So you think of those things, and if it benefits you, and lessens the stress, then that kind of
Yeah.
makes sense, doesn't it? To
And
me.
there's now claims that the stimulation of that nerve can help with weight loss, because it can be responsible for triggering the sensation of being full.
Ah, so that means like every time I want to eat, I need to go and jump in a cold shower.
Just put your face in a bowl of water.
Right.
That'll stop you eating.
I looked on Amazon, as one does, about to see if there was a stimulator for the vagus nerve.
Right.
And
What did you see?
I know, right? No, I did see them. You can spend whatever you like. There was one on there for nearly $300. Pretty much everything got about 2.5 to 3 stars. So I was going to
Yeah.
say, if anybody is listening, and
Save your money.
yeah, pretty much. Just
Yeah.
maybe go and have a nice massage or something, or I don't know, a cold bath or something like that.
Yeah.
But there was so many different devices. You
Really?
just put them, around your neck. And I thought, well, wouldn't a vibrator do that? And then I wondered, could that be dangerous?
I don't know.
And could you overstimulate it?
You start jumping around all over the place.
Right, yeah. Or just
Yeah.
want to fall asleep.
I think maybe some natural sort of approaches rather than
Mhm.
sticking some mechanical thing
Right,
around my neck.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, like have a massage. But I think, a big thing for people is looking at the stress in their life. And it's
Mm-hmm.
not just about, when people think stress, they think work, but it's not just about that. It's about relationships as well. It's about, the, what you put on yourself too, all the things that, you're
Mm-hmm.
trying to do everything right now before your surgery. That gets stressful, but I don't think people realize how much stress they carry around with them, and with carrying that around, that is going to affect the
But
vagus nerve. So you want to
yeah,
stimulate it. You
it's
want to.
overwhelm. I think particularly
Mm-hmm.
I know that about myself, and particularly over the last few days of just trying to get everything done at the moment. But and what I then sort of had a bit of a light bulb moment, having been doing all of this research, was I don't build in any kind of dedicated relaxing time. So whether
Right.
that's self-care through meditation, or whether it is
Mm-hmm.
some cold water treatment time or anything like that, really, I'm so
Mm-hmm.
flat out all of the time, which
Trying to cross
most people
everything off
are.
the
Yeah,
list.
exactly.
Yeah.
That I think that's the thing that made me realize, thinking actually there isn't, though you can carry on like that, but there's something to be said about giving your body some attention and some self-care, and then thinking about the next step of trying to then be on this journey of losing weight and a healthier lifestyle and becoming the version of me that I want to be, is going to require and I'm going to find it
Some
quite
Sarah
difficult,
time.
but building that in and
Yeah.
building in some and realizing I am actually not just thinking, well, I'm fine and I'll just be very stoic about it and carry on.
Right.
Actually, what you are going to do is not achieve your end goal as quickly or as well, because I'm not building in that relaxing time. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what suddenly sort of I came across, because I knew nothing about this before starting.
Right.
And I'm like, well, it really is a thing. It's not just a hot
Yes.
topic. It really is a
No,
thing.
it is
Yeah.
something. Um, Something that I think is a good relaxation, method thing to do is using your hands with something. And this might sound a bit sort of granny-ish, I don't know. But for me, back in 2016, it was just a horrible year. It was like one thing after another happened. My dad died. We moved. I lost my beautiful dog. I had to go to Australia to move my parents. It was just so much in such a short period of time. And I used to crochet when I was younger. I took up crocheting again. And for me, it was just doing something with my hands kind of quietened
Kept
my
you busy.
mind a bit and just relaxed me. And that's something, you know, you were saying about just making time for you to relax somehow in the day. That's what I was wanting to do, is start doing some crocheting again. Like,
when
just
was the last
sitting
time you
down of
did
a
some?
night. Oh goodness. Not this year.
Okay.
So
a
yeah,
while.
quite a while. But back in 2016, oh God, I made so much stuff. I had blankets crocheted, cushion covers. And when I couldn't sleep, I'd get up in the middle of the night and crochet. But, you know, I think that it was something that helped me get through that really difficult time, because it did help me relax. So I think, you know, I just think there's something to be said about doing something with your hands, like pottery or drawing or something, you know. I mean, I know you do have to draw for work. Just, rather than, I mean, reading a book is nice, but I think this is just different. And I think that's a really good thing for people that do feel stressed, or just even people that don't. Look at your life and see the amount of stress that, you know, because like you said, people are you can be very stoic and think, oh, I'm not stressed out, until you think, well, when have I had a break?
I think also people can get scared or overwhelmed or daunted about, if you talk about meditating, they're like, well, I've no idea how to do that, and actually I don't have time, I don't have this. So sometimes
silly, you know, maybe even feel a bit silly.
I think maybe we've talked about this before. Sometimes it's just the getting started. So there's loads of apps that you can download that will help guide you through it.
YouTube's a good place too.
Go and watch some videos on YouTube. Just get started, even if you just spend 1 minute just to get you into that frame of mind. You will soon build up to sort of 4 or 5 minutes, and maybe that's enough. And I just think there's no shame or embarrassment about doing this. This is actually going to help your health. So whatever that might be, it takes different forms for different people, but adding some of that into your day. So we talk sometimes with weight loss, it can feel like it's a lot of taking away, can't it? So eating less, not eating the foods that perhaps you would automatically be drawn to. So it can be a lot of removing. Actually, now what we're talking about, particularly with the vagus nerve, it's now adding things in that's going to help calm, stimulate, take care of yourself on this whole, if you look at it as a bit of a 360 project, rather than it being one focused on the food element or just the exercise element. This is overall holistic health, isn't it? And there's something to be said for that.
And they're easy things to do. I find exercise definitely is a de-stressor for me. That's quite a good de-stressor.
You feel good when you've done it. I think I have that mental barrier of the starting, the going to do it. I just have such a because I feel tired already. This is the thing, and I just think, oh, do I want to? But once I get there, I get underway, it's fine. I feel really good afterwards. For me, that's my hardest battle, is that mental barrier between shall I and the actually doing it part.
That's, you know, it's funny you said that, because I removed that this week and just did it, like as if I was brushing my teeth, and not having to think, not having to have that battle back and forth. That in itself made me feel less stressed. Rather than that guilt that, oh, I haven't done it yet, or it gets too late in the day and it doesn't happen. That freaking ping pong match that I constantly have.
I think for me, it's the promise of yourself. So you tell, right, I'm going to go today, and then when you don't, genuinely not because you thought, oh, I can't be bothered, but just things run away, your day runs away, and then you get to the end and go, wow, I've let myself down. Look, I've not done it again. And I think that can be really toxic, getting into your head. And there's something to be said of giving yourself a bit of a break on that. Maybe you have been really, really, really busy, and you've just got to pick which one you're going to concentrate on, because you cannot do everything. That's the point. But I think sometimes your own health or your exercise, particularly if we're talking about just that, has to win the battle. So maybe something else has got to wait, rather than the exercise or your own health has got to it, because it's so easy, as we talked about, to push yourself down on the list, isn't it? So
and there's
maybe
nothing more important than your health.
No, maybe the dishwasher waits. You know what?
Yeah.
Maybe it just waits till tomorrow morning. And actually, I'm going to use those 20 minutes to go and do something for myself, whether that is exercise, whether it is doing a hobby with your hands, which is actually really soothing, whether it's some self-care from meditating or some cold water treatment or something. Maybe that's what you just have to do every now and then, and say, the chores are going to wait. I'm going to go and do this instead.
And, you know, talking that cold water, I think if people are thinking, oh God, I could never do that, just start a little bit.
Cooler.
You know, you don't just, well, yeah, maybe a bit cooler, but although just for me, I think dive right in, right?
Yeah.
Put it to cold. But just maybe do 5 seconds to begin with, because it is like, oh, you know, it is that take your breath away almost. And then build up to it, because
I have tried it. I absolutely hate the cold. That's my only thing. I'm like, oh, I hate it. I have done it, but I hated it every single time I did it. So I just thought, this is not for me. Why am I putting myself through it? But
oh no, do it. When I wash my hair every other day, and then when I do it, I also put my head
because that's really
completely
good for
under
your
the cold
shine on
shower.
your hair and everything, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, is that okay? I just do that as a that was my way. It's my wake up in the morning thing,
right?
But knowing that how much it stimulates the vagus nerve, it's just an added bonus.
It is.
And I feel like when I do it to my body, it's kind of making my skin tight, and my, you know, put your boobs under, it's making them perfect. You know,
all of a sudden you're like 18 again.
Right. Yeah. I feel like that when I get off, you know, the bike or I've walked. I just think, oh, the butt, you know, it feels like, yeah. And then I'm like, nah, there it is. Still there.
Not today, but it's one step closer than it was before you got on the bike.
Right. That's true. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway. Oh, goodness. So, yeah, vagus nerve. It's a funny name. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, but different spelling.
It's interesting how they've linked it to, say, the wandering thing. That's because it is such a long, it's actually like it's 2 sets, isn't it? It's like 2 sets of fibers almost that sit either side. So
yeah, that do the same thing. So yeah, if anybody's got I mean, we're not doctors and we say that, but if anybody is struggling with any tummy issues, chat to your doctor about that. I don't know how doctors are on this, you know. A good holistic medicine person would know about it for sure,
or just, you know, give all of these things a try and just see if you ever feel any,
see if it
difference.
helps. Yeah, for sure. Because, you know, hey, it's not doing anything. We're not telling
and
you
that's
to
the
take
thing, you can't
drugs.
No, you can't. I mean, obviously take all the medications you need to take. You're not telling to stop anything. It's just adding these things in. All they'll ever do is create some relaxation, so it's worth a try, isn't it?
Yeah. Hey, what's cooking? See, some people, speaking of cooking, hang on, some people find cooking relaxing. Have you heard that? Do you find it relaxing?
No.
I find it relaxing. You don't know?
Baking. I like baking.
Yeah. I like it when I'm not working.
Yeah.
I mean, I like it, you know, when I work. I shouldn't say that. I like what I do. But I find when I cook, when I don't have to cook, is when I really enjoy it.
I do enjoy it. I don't find it relaxing. But but baking I do.
Yeah. What are you cooking this week?
I'm gonna have a lot more salmon. I've been enjoying that. I made a really, really nice stir fry the other night and made the dressing to go on it. So I just put soy sauce and some crushed garlic and some ginger and some honey in it. Oh my gosh, it was so good. So
I'm gonna salmon
on the stir fried vegetables. So I put that on the vegetables, and then I put the salmon on the top and just have
nice.
Really, really nice. And what else have I done? So I'm gonna have more salmon. We're having quite a lot of scrambled eggs or eggs at the moment because my son's training for, we've just had one fight, he's now training for another one, so lots of eggs on the go.
They're so good. They're so good.
And they're quick and they're
cook,
easy.
And they're not expensive, and you can, you know, add all sorts of things to them. I love eggs.
Other than that, I don't really have anything planned. I'm just gonna, because I've been so busy, I've been kind of thinking one day at a time and just thinking, what am I going to have tonight? So that's how it's been sort of going. So I haven't planned too much. What about you? You've always got a great plan.
Well, my sister's in France, and
Is she still there?
she's still there.
She's been there forever.
I know, right? But I need updates. I get daily updates of what
Okay.
she's been eating. And she told me about this salad. And as she was telling me about it, I thought, oh, that sounds very French. And she ordered this salad and a glass of champagne, and even the French server said to her, "Oh, how very French." So, and it's so good. And I made it last night, so I'm going to put this on repeat for the
Okay.
week. And it was just different greens, like different lettuce greens. I get these packs here, and they're just baby lettuce, and I put them in water and, sort of revive them a bit.
Mhm.
Oh, so delicious. With apple, but the apple was hot, so you cook the apple off for a bit,
Oh.
and then you make little toasts with my sister had goat cheese on hers, but I was out of that, so I did I had this brie and blue combo
Mhm.
cheese. I did that with warm walnuts, very, very thinly sliced, just a little bit of red onion. And then I did a honey Dijon vinaigrette, but I put quite a bit of honey in, so it was sweet.
Mhm.
I think that was all that was in it. Oh my God, it was so good. It
Sounds
was
good.
so delicious. That, and I've been making lemon miso shrimp, because I have like white miso paste in the fridge. Takes like 5 minutes to make. Put fresh herbs in it. So yummy. I'm also going to do, now this sounds a little posh, but it is really easy. Scallops with an orange sauce on whipped cauliflower instead of, instead
What,
of
do you
like
blitz
rice
it
or
or something?
something. Yeah, so you cook the cauliflower and you just whiz it up in the process with a little butter or some olive oil. Yeah. I'm going to do pork with prunes and apples,
Nice.
and salmon, like a salmon salad that I put on crackers. Yeah, and lots of apples. I've been eating lots of apples. So, what is something that you want to take away from today's episode? Instead of a goal, what's something
Yeah.
that you think you're
I
going to
think just that
try?
realization that actually I don't add anything to my holistic health, if I want to call it that. So I think
Right,
that's the thing. And I think what I'd like to do is just give myself 10 minutes a day of concentrated self-care, what that looks like. I don't want to prescribe it too early. So whether that is
right,
a bit of something like a hobby time, just even 10 minutes, or some cold water, even if I just start with putting my face in a bowl of cold water, because I think I could probably manage that a bit more than the shower to start with, or some meditation or something. That's going to be my biggest learning point. I think the fact that I really don't do that, and
no,
it's going to add to this journey and this effort that I'm putting myself on
it's all
for
part of it,
my
right?
life. Yeah, and so
Yeah,
this is going to be part of it. So that's my biggest takeaway, I think, is the fact that this stuff really does make a difference and it really does help. So
right.
add it in. What about you?
I'm going to try to do some meditative stuff. Like maybe look on YouTube, see if I can find something. Just like you said, 10,
Yeah.
15 minutes a day, but make it part of my day without having it add more stress in me thinking, oh, I've got
Yeah.
to do this, because I don't do that. Plus, I'm going to start doing some crocheting again.
That'd be
Just
really fun.
something that I can do. Plus, I think when you do that overnight too, and you get the munchies overnight, doing something with your hands
Yeah.
helps
Keeps you occupied
alleviate
a bit.
that, keeps you occupied. So yeah, that's what I'm going to they're my two things that I'm going to do: meditate and crochet. I could
Okay.
probably do them together.
I was going to say, what, at the same time? Do you not need to
Yeah,
concentrate?
right. Yeah. Gosh. Anyway, join us next week. We're talking about charisma. How enchanting.
Yes.
As always, thank you so much for listening. Please send us a message if there's a subject you think that we should cover. Visit our website, lovoniandsarah.com, for more on each episode and some wholesome recipes. Find links in the notes below to connect with us on social media. We're now on YouTube, and we're also recording for the platforms on podcasts. So I don't think everybody's aware of the fact that they can also watch, on Spotify.
Yeah. You can
you have to change the apps in your settings, apparently. Change the
Settings in
settings in your
apps.
app. Yeah.
That one even.
That one too. Yeah. So just a takeaway from this today is when you're feeling stressed and anxious, think about the vagus nerve. It's the body's secret weapon for moving you out of this state, triggering a relaxation response in the body. Exercise. Make sure you drink plenty of water and practice deep, calming breaths. Thanks for watching or listening. Yes,
Absolutely.
exactly. Okay. Bye
See you
for
next
now.
time. Bye.
Bye.